Hi, my name's Meredith Ebbs and I work for the University of Adelaide. And today I'll be presenting to you on some block coding. So I've got two sessions. This is a session that will focus on planning and on using Scratch Junior in the iPads. So with our curriculum, the Australian curriculum is Australia-wide, while some states have interpreted that curriculum to their own local version. The essence stays similar across all states, and that is that we need to be planning and teaching algorithms. So today I'm going to be talking about planning our code and planning algorithms. This can be done on paper, it can be done in a slideshow or in PowerPoint, and it can be done on the whiteboard as a group. You don't have to have special software. It's really about talking through your process, talking about through what you want your code to do before you actually start to build it. And the reason we do this is to ensure that children and adults understand what the purpose of the code is. If you can't talk through the code in words, how do you plan to actually build that in block coding? So what we're going to do now is we're going to move into a short video on how to use Scratch Junior. This session is looking at using Scratch Junior, and Scratch Junior is an app that is found on the iTunes Store and in the Android Play Store. To access the app on your iPad, you place your finger toward the top of the screen, in the middle, touch and swipe down. Then you type the first few characters of your app that you're looking for, and you can see Scratch Junior appears there. Anything with the characters that you have entered will appear, including folders and files and settings. You can see under websites that it actually has shown the iTunes Store, and it's also shown the Scratch Junior website, which if you go to that site actually has lesson activities, instructions on how the application works, and it also has downloads for the Android version. Tap the Scratch Junior icon and it will open, then tap the house. I'm just going to show you a game I made earlier. It's about finding the C words. If I tap the white piece of paper up in the top left corner beside the house, it will maximize the screen. Now the purpose of this is to find all the words that start with K. So I'm going to tap cat, tap the dog, tap the cowgirl, tap the frog, tap the rabbit, tap the car. You can see that only the words that start with C have disappeared, and the others have told me to try again. If I tap the flag, it will return all the items back to the screen, back to their original position. I'm going to tap the top left corner, the page again, will return me to the coding screen. I'm now going to tap the house, and I'm going to show you how you can make your own game. Tap the plus. So I'm just going to move Scratchy out of the way. Scratchy is a sprite. All the characters that appear on the screen are sprites, and what we do is code each of those to do something specific. If we just have a look at the title bar going across the top of the screen, you have the logo Scratch Junior, then you have the home key, the home button. If I tap that, it'll take me back out to the main screen. The white page with the brackets in the corner will enlarge the screen. The next one with the lines on it, if I tap that, will bring a grid. This is helpful if you're trying to move your characters around. The highlighted cell in that grid will tell you where all the coding begins from. So if I want it to move 10 spaces to the right, it will count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can see. Okay, see the colour changing. To turn those grids off, tap the same button. The next icon adds a background, and I want actually a simple background, and so I'm going to use the yellow background. If I want to edit that background, I can tap the paintbrush in the top right corner. I can use the fill bucket, and I can tap a different colour. Be careful when choosing your colours for children with colour blindness. Colours like green, red and blue are difficult for people with colour blindness to see. So I've changed the colour to a cream colour, and then I tap and you can see it changes the colour. Tap the tick and I've changed the colour of my game. I also would like to add some text. ABC at the top. Find the sound K. The green flag is used often as a trigger to start a program, and we can control what the green flag will do in our coding. Now I'd like to add 5 more characters, sprites. I'm going to tap the plus sign over on the left underneath the cat, and I'm going to find some characters I could use. I'm going to use a K for crab. I'm going to use a K for cowgirl. You'll see the cowgirl has a blank face. I can actually add a face to that later by taking a photograph. I'll show you how to do that. Now I just need 3 other characters that do not start with K. Do not choose chicken for a K game because chicken has a ch sound, and you don't want to confuse students with the sound that they're learning. So we're looking at the K sound. So I'm going to put a P for pig. Perhaps also be culturally aware and allow children to choose animals that they like. Some cultures don't like to associate with pigs. Some don't like to associate with cows, or would prefer not to use those sorts of things. So make sure you allow students flexibility to choose what they would like. Bearing in mind the colours, if the colours are a problem, you can edit the colour. If I tap the paintbrush, I can edit the colour of that animal. And you can see that I can actually change the colour as I like. So I have a duck, a crab, a fish, a cat, a pig and a cowgirl. I want that cowgirl to have a face. So if I go to the rancher on the left hand side, you can see it's now orange. Tap the paintbrush. Now what I'm going to do is take a photo of my face and place my face in the face of the cowgirl. Now what I do is I tap camera and I tap the space of the face where I'd like the photo to go. And you can see the camera has activated. And you can see my face, hopefully you can see my face is inside there. Now, I need to program each of these sprites separately, and I want them to react in different ways depending on the sound. For the sprites that start with K, I want them to jiggle and then disappear. For the sprites that start with a different sound, I want them to move back and forth, left and right, and then display try again. And when I tap the flag, I want that to bring back all of the sprites to their original position. The cat. I'm working with this one first. You can see that I have it selected up the top, left hand side. In the middle of the screen you can see a ribbon. The ribbon has got different coloured buttons and different coloured blocks. The colour of the blocks is linked to the colour of the button. So I tap the yellow button, and I'm going to use when I tap on the sprite, I want you to jiggle to the right, then to the left, and then I want you to disappear. And the disappear is on the purple button. Let's have a look at what that does. That was very quick. I think perhaps I'd like it to jiggle a few times before it disappears. I also need to be able to bring that sprite back. So to bring it back, I'm going to need to use the person that is white on the purple ribbon. And I want to trigger that by when I tap the green flag. Let's try that. So I tap the green flag and Scratchy comes back. Now I actually want it to repeat left, right, left, right, left, right. Now there is a number underneath, but if I change that to 2, that isn't quite what we want. You can see it tilted to the right twice, then tilted back to the left twice. Not quite what we want. What we actually need is a repeat. And I want the disappear button outside, otherwise it will repeat everything inside that loop at the moment 4 times. So I'm going to put the disappear out, so it's going to go right, left, once, right, left, and right, left a 4th time. Bring back the cat. Okay. Now it is very fast, so I'm going to put in the speed button there. Let's see if that changes anything. No. Let's make it slow. You can see the speed changed. Now that's actually the code I need for all of my C or K words. So I'm going to go to my crab, and I'm going to build that again. When I tap the crab, turn right, turn left 4 times, then disappear. Let's try it. Once again, it's too fast. Tap the crab. Now I need to do the same thing for the cowgirl. Now at the moment the cowgirl is called a rancher. So if I hold my finger on the paintbrush, up the top of that picture is the word rancher. Change the name. In Australia, a cowgirl is often called a jillaroo, but for the purpose of this activity, I'm sure the children will recognise that as a cowgirl. I need to do my code. When I tap the cowgirl, repeat it 4 times. Turn right, turn left, and then disappear. Once again, it's way too fast. And when I tap the green flag, appear. Let's test that. It's important to test your code each time you make a change to ensure that your changes don't cause errors. If you check as you're going through by adding a brick or adding some bricks and then testing, it will mean that you will be able to identify when the error occurred, and it makes it easier to fix. Now we need to do the pig. Now when the pig gets touched, I want the pig to go right then left. And then I want it to say try again. If you wish to move your cursor along text, you can hold your finger on the spacebar on your iPad, and by doing that you can see that the spacebar has ghosted out. Then I can slide my finger along the screen and arrive at a new location for editing purposes. So when I tap the pig, now if I want to put this code onto another sprite, you can drag and drop. You can see that the duck is now yellow. If I let go now, it will actually drop the code on the duck. Now I'll show you on the fish, there is nothing. Go to the duck, and you can see it's added. So if I tap the fish, tap the duck, tap the pig, press the flag, all the sprites are returned to their previous location. Go up to the top right corner, tap the yellow quadrilateral, delete project 12, so you can see this type of project could be used in literacy, in a literacy group, to explore sounds. You could do it for any sound, and the students can modify and edit the sprites that are on the app. Today I'm going to be showing you how to plan algorithms and code using Google Slides. I'm quite conscious that some states don't have access to Google and Google Slides, so you can feel free to use PowerPoint. But as casual teachers, you may not have access to computers and iPads either, in which case you may choose to do your planning on a whiteboard or a piece of paper. There's no limit to what you choose. It could be a plain discussion, but it is better if students actually write it down, either individually or as a group. So I'm just going to jump into slides and I'll see you in a moment. So what we need is some different shapes. These shapes might be taught in a primary context, but there's no reason why you can't use them in a K-2 context or F-2 context if you want to. There's no reason why you can't expose students to these shapes while they're not expected to understand all of the shapes and be able to name their function. So the first thing we want to do is we want to have a round shape, like an oval. And that's the start. We're going to use arrows for connectors. We're going to use parallelograms for an input or an output. A rectangle is a process and a diamond is a decision. So to get a parallelogram, and to get a square or a rectangle, and to get a decision, you just go through the shapes and find the ones you would like. They're the shapes we're using. And what I would do is I would actually get your shapes how you want them and use them as a template and copy and paste. To copy and paste a shape, click on the shape, press Control-C or Command-C. You can also use the Edit menu to copy. And then when you move over and click in another space and you press Control-V for Victor or Command-V, it will actually paste you another shape the same. That way you'll get multiple shapes that are all the same. You don't need to worry about jigging how they look if you don't want to. To delete a shape, you simply click on it and press your delete button. The edit menu also has cut, copy, paste. It also has duplicate. These are important skills to teach students because they're known as ICT skills and ICT capabilities, and they are in every single syllabus from K to 12 across every single subject area. Therefore, it's important that we actually teach these skills in the context of our learning. So my program I'd like to run is when I tap on a shape that starts with K or C, I want it to jiggle to the left and to the right and then disappear. And I want that jiggle to be slow, and I want it to happen 4 times. So it looks like the shape is bouncing back and forth, similar to when you try to delete an app off your phone or off a tablet. So that's what I want to happen if it is a correct answer. The name of this code is going to be Now I'm just going to do a generic code for each shape that starts with C. If you want, you could do a process for every single shape. So we've got 3 shapes that start with C. We have 3 shapes that start with other sounds. We could do a process for each shape or sprite, or we can do one process for all the sprites that start with K, and one process for all the sprites that are incorrect. We're going to do it that way because the code is actually the same, and it makes it much easier to talk through what the process is. So the first is, what if the sprite starts with C or K? The first thing you want to do is have an input, and the input is tap on the sprite. That might be the crab, the cat, or it might be the cowgirl. So I might just make a little note here. So the T box will give me a text box. Crab, cowgirl, and cat are my sprites. Now it's a very big box. I actually want it a little bit smaller. If I click on that blue border, I can move it around. And if I click on the edge, I can resize. So that's my sprites that I'm going to use for this code for. So my input is tap on the sprite. My next is, does it start with C? Be careful not to use sprites that have a different sound, like chicken, because we're actually looking at the K sound. This is going to be a process. Double click on the box to put text in it. If I click and drag over all those boxes and hold Shift to select No, I can actually change the color of all of those while we're going. I'm going to make them transparent. Just going to make the lines a bit thicker so it's easier for you to see. For the sprite that starts with C, crab, cow, girl, and cat, if I tap on the sprite, I have to ask, the computer has to ask, does it start with C? If the answer is yes, I need to run my next process. Turn left. And it's going to turn right. And it's going to do that 4 times. So I use this elbow connector. Once I've done my elbow connector, I need to turn the line above turn left into an arrow. And you'll just have to fiddle with the arrows. There's 2 line ends, line start, line end. So wherever you start drawing from is the start. So I started from here from right and went to left. So therefore that's the end of the line. So I need to use this end line end to get my arrow. And I'm actually going to do that 4 times. I'm going to put an arrow here. And the good thing about doing this with PowerPoint or with slides is that it will automatically link from the purple dots. So then all you need to do, if you're not happy with the positioning, you just need to move them along and to make the line straight. So far we've got, so that's not quite straight. So I'm just going to move using my arrow keys. I'm just moving the box. You can also click and drag. And you can see that red line, that indicates it's in the middle. So a sprite that starts with C, tap on the sprite. Does it start with C? Yes. Turn left, turn right, repeat it 4 times. And then I want it to, another box. I'm just pressing Control C to copy and Control V to paste. At the end of that, I want it to disappear. I jiggle around until I find that red middle line. Now, if I want, I can put a speed in there. You might need to be in the app to determine how fast or slow you want this to look. So having slow in before the loop might be an idea if it's going too fast. We'll see when we get into the app if we need that. So when we get to does it start with C, we've actually completed that code. Yes, turn left, turn right, then disappear. Does it start with C? No. I'm going to copy this. Oops, I'm going to copy this code. I'm going to copy all these shapes. Copy, paste. Move it up. I don't want that. If you use the Shift key, you can unselect parts you don't want. Okay, now the reason I've copied that is because the code is actually very similar, so I can just edit the boxes. Just can drag that up and adapt it. So that wouldn't connect, so I just had to disconnect it and reconnect it in the right location. I'll put this up here. So what I want to do, instead of turn left, I want it to move left, move right. And I don't want it to disappear. I actually want it to say the words, try again. This is my plan for my code. Now, once I've finished the game, the next student is going to want to use the game. So I need to reset it, because what will happen is the 3 characters that start with C will all disappear, and I need it to come back. So when you're making a game, you actually need to have a trigger to force all of the hidden things to return to their showing position. And if things have moved, you want them to go back to where they started. So I'm actually just going to have another small process. This one. And it's going to be use to display hidden sprites. Sprite being the characters in the game. I'm going to use an input. I'm going to tap on the flag. So when I tap on the flag, I want it to, I'm just copying and pasting the shapes that I need so that I have to redraw them. tap on the flag, and I want to show the hidden sprite. You will need to put this code on every sprite that starts with the sound that potentially could be hidden. So, drawing some arrows to join them up. I'm going to make this line here green to represent the green flag. Use the flag to display hidden sprites. Tap on the flag, show the hidden sprites. So this is my code. A sprite that starts with C, mine are a crab, a cow, girl, and a cat. Tap on the sprite. Does it start with C? Yes. Turn left, turn right, repeat that 4 times, and then disappear. If it doesn't start with C, no. Move left, move right, try again. Okay, that doesn't disappear. The characters that don't start with C are going to be a duck, a fish, and a pig. So the ones that don't start with C are going to move left, move right 4 times, and then say try again. You can use any characters you like. Students don't have to choose exactly the same as you. Feel free to let them explore and use alternate characters to demonstrate their understanding of their phonics and their sound associations. Thank you for listening to my session on Scratch Junior and planning your code. I work for the University of Adelaide, and we have a website, csermoocs.adelaide.edu.au. If you would like to have more information on how to upskill yourself in this area, it's definitely an area in demand by schools, and teachers with these skills are being snapped up. I recommend you do our online courses. They are free and they're all mapped to the AITSL standards, and they would qualify for professional learning in your state. Inside the course there is a list of the standards that it meets and the hours that you can claim. In New South Wales, the hours can be claimed as teacher identified hours and logged into your ETAMs on the NESA page. I've also included some of my social media. If you would like to connect with me on social media, I do share information on how to teach digital technologies and resources. So you might like to follow me on Facebook at my page, Make, Create, Educate. My Instagram is also Make, Create, Educate. And on Twitter, you can find me as iMaryNet. My blog and my Pinterest are updated regularly also. Thank you once again, and good luck with your journey in learning digital technologies.